Good afternoon. It is 2 o'clock, jumping on here to discuss all things Clear Planner. My partner on this project and dear friend Dawn is jumping on here. So there she is. She is jumping on. You got to click to add. There we go. Alrighty. View request. It's always that interesting 30 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes when you add that person and they get to jump on. So there she is.
Gotta love the awkward minute.
The awkward minute. I was just about to tell a joke, so you saved probably a bunch of people from a joke, but it was actually a good one. We'll have to keep it for next time. So as I was saying before I jumped on, we are talking all things Clear Planner. So I'm excited. I know Dawn's excited. Do not follow Dawn. If you're seeing this from my end, please follow Dawn. If you don't follow myself or Dawn or the Clear Planner, please definitely follow that, because we are trying to have as much of a positive impact. So I'll kick it off real quick to you, because I know you've had, and for people that follow me more so than Dawn does a bunch of training in the personal training world, in the fitness world, in the health world. She does a bunch of stuff, and she's had some awesome success in regard to clients of hers sharing some really cool stories. So why don't you touch on some of those? Because I know that in about a week or so, and it's been awesome just to see and kind of live vicariously through you.
Yeah, so it's been really cool. Since all of the planners came to me in Florida, I was able to get them to my friends and family first. So I've gotten a chance to really experience some of my friends diving into the planner. And the one just real quick story I wanted to share, she's not a client, a really good friend of mine, somebody that's become super special in my life. Has just had like a lot. I mean, who doesn't have like a lot of stuff going on, right? And just life feels like it's out of control. It's chaotic. There's so much that she cannot control in her world right now, like, everybody else. And she was so excited to get this planner in her hand. And it has like filled my heart watching her. Like, we were on a video chat and she was filling out the planner before she went to bed with like her gratitude for the day, reviewing what happened, and then just looking ahead to the next morning. And there's a lot of stress and anxiety in her world right now. And being able to like sit down and just lay out a simple plan to see where everything fit, knowing that stuff's going to come up, be a little out of control, was really exciting. She's genuinely taking this planner and using it to really get her life going again and going in the right direction. And it was so awesome, because we talk about that all the time. We talk about how this can really change and impact lives. Just this simple act of laying out what you want to do and putting it out there and taking those steps consistently on a daily basis, and to see the changes and transformation in her in just a week of laying this out has just been incredible. I'm super stoked. Anyway, I just needed to share that with you.
No, that is so cool. And I think to touch on something you said, and I love doing these lives with you, because for those people that don't know, Dawn and I have known each other for over 20 years. And the cool thing is we've kind of gone through some very similar, some very different things. But the one thing that kind of really reconnected, I guess, us a few years ago was this, let's call it this personal development, growth mindset type of things that we were listening to, reading. And you said a phrase that everybody knows of, because people just toss it around social media, which is, control the controllables. And it sounds really amazing and like, oh, control the controllables. But when you take a step back and you just understand what it is, it's super simple, because all it is literally is controlling those very few things that you can control. And I think if we didn't learn anything from this pandemic, it's that on the scale of 1 to 10 things a day, there are probably 2 or 3 things we have full control over, and there are 6 or 7 that we don't. And that's one of the reasons why we put together this planner, where it's not about being perfect. It's not about you have to do this every single day and you have to do 15 things and 20 things. And I think for me, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Is I struggle personally from the mental perspective when I have something in front of me, whether it's check marks, to-do lists, and I don't get it done. And I've struggled with that for years. And it started with, how you and I connected playing basketball. I'd shoot 10 free throws. And if I didn't make 9 out of 10, I go back and do it again. And it messes with you, which is why we put together this planner to bookend your day. And what I mean by that is you start your day and you end your day on your terms, knowing that the middle is going to be crazy. So I wanted to kind of get your perspective from the coaching you do. Do you have maybe one or two things that you work with clients or yourself that, when you don't have those, let's call them those 10 for 10 perfect checklists, what do you do with that mindset of, okay, I didn't get all 10 today, but tomorrow's a new day? Just would love to get your chiming in on that.
It's funny because I was actually writing a post that's going to be put out a little bit later today talking about just doing a little bit better, right? I'm working with a brand new client and we were talking a lot, and she's got that all or nothing mentality. And as athletes, for us, that was like, you're all in or you're not in at all. And as an adult that's grown, it's the idea of when you set yourself up to go all in, too many of us are going to fail. And so the idea is just to do a little bit better. I was on my way back from the post office and I was hungry. I knew I didn't go grocery shopping and I was going to stop for the dang pizza, right? And I'm a fitness and nutrition coach trying to get back on track. And instead it was like, well, I'm still going to stop for something. I need something, but what's the next best thing I can do? What's one thing I can do better? So I stopped and I ended up getting a wrap instead of my nice greasy pizza. And it's the same idea with the planner for me. I'll get to the end of the day and I'm like, man, I missed some stuff. But being able to say, okay, what didn't I get done? What can I do a little bit better tomorrow? And then I just move what didn't get done to the next day, right? And so that's the cool part about sitting down and saying, okay, well, this didn't all fit in right. Things went crazy. Let's review it. And then let's just do a little bit better. Because when you can take that concept of one little thing better, it makes it more manageable. It allows you to be consistent. And we know it's consistency that gets you ahead. It's not being smarter. It's not even just always working harder. It's working more consistently.
I love that. And there's the idea out there, and I know you've seen it, and I know a bunch of people watching this or seeing it later. It's, work smarter, not harder. And it's then the other side is you have, grind all day, 24/7. And Dawn and I are not anti-grinding, working hard. We're not anti, getting smarter. But the one thing I want to touch on is this is the second page of the planner. And on the bottom, it has today's wins, gratitude, and what can I do better / improve. But within this also, there's a bunch of lines. I don't even know. I haven't even counted how many lines there are. But I think the one thing that I've really enjoyed and I've taken it to heart is the idea and the concept of reflection. And one of my personal coaches, and I think that's something interesting to share. Dawn has coaches. I have coaches. And I think what I realized is so many of those quote unquote super successful influencers that you follow and I follow and other people follow, you kind of look at them as, the cream of the crop. And to use a basketball analogy, Michael Jordan, in my definition, is the greatest player of all time. He put Tim Grover on the map in the sense of, Michael was really Tim's first coach, but it wasn't until Michael got help on the other things that he got to that next level. So that's kind of the big thing for me in this planner is it's the consistency, but it's going again, that anti all or nothing. So for me, there are days when I don't review in the evening to the extent that I want to. And it's kind of that all or nothing. And I have that self-defeating thought, but then I realize, okay, I can't go back to 4 p.m., 1 p.m., 9 a.m. So I can just wrap up my day today and knowing that I'm going to start tomorrow. But want to put you on the spot for a second because you said something that is super interesting. It hits me hard, and you and I have both gotten into much better shape over the last few years because of consistency. But it's if you had stopped for that piece of pizza tonight, the thing that I'm fascinated with is, and I see it in my personal life also with some of my clients, is that one bad meal on a Monday night turns into a bad meal on a Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. So put you on the spot for a second with the concept of consistency is if somebody has that piece of pizza or that bad meal, what do you suggest that they do? What has worked for you to jump back right on the wagon tomorrow as opposed to allowing one bad meal or night turn into 2 or 3 or 4?
Well, for us, it's all perspective shifting when I work with clients. So it's, there is no good or bad food. It's, we can make a better choice. For me, it's the consistency that allows me, if I wanted to stop and have the pizza, it's not going to impact my weight, right? Like that one meal doesn't impact my weight because of all of the consistency that's built up over time. And because I'm able to be consistent, jumping back in makes it a lot easier. The biggest thing is having a plan. And that's what I've seen over and over. Most of the women I work with, they beat themselves up and they just say, I'm just not motivated. And then we talk and I'm like, well, you don't have any kind of plan. What are you motivated to do? Like, there's nothing to do. Now, if you have a plan and you don't do it, maybe motivation's a factor. And that's what I love about having this planner. It's when I'm not sure what it is I want to be doing, especially in the entrepreneurial world, right? Like, if it's written down, okay, now I have a plan. It's not that I'm not motivated to work at all, but if I don't know what to do, I'm not going to do anything. Well, now I can lay out what my plan for the day is. I can lay out what the steps are that are going to get me one step closer. And so as far as the getting back in, it's creating the mindset that I'm not off to begin with. It's just part of my life. And I just do it's taking that next best step that I can.
I love that. And I appreciate you sharing that. I hope people that are watching now or later, they pick up on a couple of things that Dawn shared. I've been studying for the last probably 2 months, the whole concept of motivation. And I have to say that I always thought motivation was something along the lines of that rah, like, okay, I'm going to motivate Dawn. She's going to get going and it's going to work today. And she's going to still be motivated on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And so many of the most successful people, whether it's sports people, whether it's business people, whether it's coaches, they talk about how motivation doesn't last. And at first I was like, yeah, it does. But then I realized it doesn't, which is why when we put together part of on our planner, one of the things that we're super specific on every day is today's wins and the areas to improve or where I can do better. And that is something that I can honestly say, as I shared with my personal coaches, going back and looking at reflection is if I have a bad day or a bad week, or if I finish a workout and in my mind, I check that box that I finished it, but I don't feel really fulfilled. Instead of beating myself up and saying, okay, now I'm going to go to the gym after work for another 5 hours, I have to put myself in that mental place and say, okay, let me look back at a couple of really good workouts, knowing I can't go back to an hour ago or 2 hours ago. What can I do better tomorrow? And I think what you said is the next best thing. I think it's so simple to hear it. And as you say, like, it's easy to do, but it's doing that next best thing. Or as you're driving somewhere and you can't get to a, healthy restaurant or have a really good salad or something like that, it's how do I make that next best choice? And that to me is something that focuses on this planner, which is, it's not about being perfect. It's not about having, those 7 days in a row where you look at your plan, it's, filled, top to bottom, but it's okay. I did 6 out of 7 really good days. Or maybe it's your first week using it. It's like, all right, I did 5 out of 7 really good days. I didn't do as well Saturday. Saturday's crazy with the kids. And then maybe in your mind, as you move forward, is knowing that, okay, look, Saturday's not going to be a day where I'm going to have 2 hours in the morning or afternoon to focus on it. So instead of stressing about it, I'm going to grab 15 or 20 minutes at night and just kind of go through it, or spend a couple extra minutes on Sunday and reflect back, as opposed to, again, fixating on doing everything at once.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I love looking for wins in the day. I just remember months ago, I was working with a friend, and she is somebody that is so driven, so motivated, constantly on the go, like doesn't feel like she's doing enough if she's not doing stuff. Right. And I know she's worked on this over time, but she would say, oh, I didn't get anything done today. Right. In the middle of all her running around, I'm like, wait a minute, you just told me you did this and this and this. And she's like, oh, I guess I had a better day than I thought. And so I love the act of actually going back and reviewing your day and looking for wins. And on days that I know, there's days, maybe not in your world, but in my world, I do, where I know I have not done really anything. The act of going and looking for something to just be positive about, to give myself a little bit of love for whatever, like, hey, I didn't do this because this stuff was going on, but with all that, despite all that, there's always something that we can find. And to review that at the end of the week is huge. I love sitting down on Sundays, and it varies, sometimes morning, sometimes evening. And I sit down and I flip back through the week and I gather all those wins and I get to rewrite them and see what I missed. And that just rehypes me up. I look at, okay, what goals did I have last week? Ooh, like what did I miss? What did I not? What did I do better? And that helps motivate me for the week ahead, and it helps me get excited for the week ahead. And it's not about being motivated by somebody else, but it's about getting excited for the progress that happens. And I love that progress piece, and that we get to see it throughout the entire 13 weeks.
Well, I'll challenge you, and you know I love that word challenge, but I'll challenge you where I found, just me being transparent, I found that there's some times where I'll see other people's successes, and it will motivate me, not from I'm competing with Dawn or I need to be better, but can be totally transparent with you. You share a bunch of your stuff, not to the point where you actually show your actual writing and the words you're using, but you share videos and pictures every day in the morning at some point with your workouts, with your morning grabbing your, what is it, your energy, what do you call it?
Energize.
You're energized. But there's been some days where I've looked at some of your posts and things, and this is just being transparent and a little bit vulnerable with you, where it motivates me saying, okay, I got to take some time, because the reality is, how many times you talk to a friend or a coworker and it's like, oh, I'm so busy. You talk to everybody, everybody's busy. They work, 48 hours every day. Somehow they squeeze 2 days in one. But the reality is we're all busy. So my point of that is, you've motivated me in a good way. And that's why Dawn and I are going to continue to share stories and posts and pictures, not just because, we're trying to, sell a gazillion planners. Obviously, we want to be successful with that. But the coolest part is when people post something and share something, and then we reshare it, because that's the hope of motivating somebody to say, okay, if this person can grab 15 minutes in the morning or 20 minutes in the afternoon, I can find that. And that's one of the things that I think, as we designed this, is it wasn't this 7-hour planner where it's like you get to the point where you finish it and you don't feel good, you feel overwhelmed, and you're like, oh great, I get to do it again tomorrow. It's 13 weeks. Right. But the hope of it is that once you use it, you keep coming back. I want to put you on the spot for a second. What is one thing within this planner that we've done? I know a bunch of posts, we've done a couple Instagram lives and things. What is one thing that's within this planner that you don't think we've either spoken about or touched on that's really important, and maybe we've neglected to share just because we've been so excited about the other stuff?
I think we very briefly touched on it, but it's in the beginning, and we talk about setting our goals, and it's setting those goals for the 13 weeks. When I set them, sometimes I do it, sometimes I base it on the year and then break it down for that 13 week. Did I lose you? Okay, sorry.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so it's that idea of actually writing them out. They're right in the front of the planner, and then revisiting it. I was going through some old planners, and I'm like, wow, like I wrote some really great goals, but I know I never went back. I never looked at them. I never connected to them. And we have you go through an exercise where you're just kind of writing out everything that you want to accomplish, every possible goal that would pop into your head. And they say, okay, now you've kind of brainstormed them all. Let's narrow it down to like 4 that you can really focus on and dive in and really prioritize them, because oftentimes a lot of those go together. When you're working towards this goal, all the rest fall into place. And so really hammering that out. And then once we have the 4, we talk about, okay, you've got to make them smart. They've got to be written in a way that you can actually accomplish them. And then the thing that I love the most is tying the why. Like, why does this goal matter? I'm doing a presentation tomorrow, and I pulled out my planner from last December, and I was like, what goals did I write down? And I'm 3 for 4 in achieving them. The 4th one that I wrote down wasn't a goal that I cared about. It wasn't a goal that I was connected to, and it's not one that I worked towards. And so it was one of those, within my industry, it was what everybody put down on their paper. So I'm like, okay, well, there was no connection to it. And so to be able to sit down and look back, and one of them was print and publish a planner and get it into people's hands. And when I wrote down, didn't know what that looked like. I think it was before we actually spoke for the first time. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. We're just going to write it down. And then the last piece, as I'm like babbling away, along with those goals, we've got the action steps. And the action steps are so huge. Even when it's a goal that you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I remember the first action step that I wrote down was call Chris. Chris has published a book before. He'll either know where to start or who to talk to. And so sometimes that first thing is research what it is that you're looking to do. And then, of course, the actions got added as I went. But yeah, it's really cool to go back and look at that and say, oh, wow. When you're connected to your goal and it matters to you and you actually look at it throughout the year, it's amazing what happens.
You know, you said something which is really cool, but take it a step further about connecting and finding somebody or something. I talk all the time with my clients, or whether it's on stage, is success leaves clues.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% guilty of it. Early on in my college basketball coaching career, I kind of tried to figure a bunch of stuff out. And what I realized, being mentored by a really good head coach at the time, he learned so much from other people. And it wasn't like he was walking around saying, Dawn taught me this and Mike taught me that and Bill, right. But he would introduce, oh, this is, the gentleman that, really knows zone defense well. And I'm like, okay. And I started putting two and two together. And I say it all the time, is success leaves clues. So I'm going to challenge anybody out there that's watching this, whether it's live or at a later point, is find those people in your life, in your industry, in your company that have done something or accomplished something, and just ask them candidly, hey, can I grab 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your time? That's a perfect story. So not to linger on this, but Dawn reached out to me last year, and she had asked me about a planner, and unbeknownst to her, I don't think she even knew that I'd been working on a planner for the better part of a couple of years. And when I say working on it, I mean I was working on it where things I liked, things I didn't like. I actually was at the point where I thought things had to be a certain way, and then I got feedback from some people, and I was like, no, you're wrong. It's got to be this way. And it wasn't until going back to success leaves clues, but I also say this, is failure leaves clues as well. Mm-hmm. And what's the famous quote is, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So Dawn and I got together, we threw some ideas out. I emailed her some stuff from my original planner. We basically copied, stole, tweaked, edited a bunch of things we did like, didn't like, and we put together this amazing clear planner. So before we kick it off to you to finish off today, I'm going to challenge everybody. As I said, if you don't follow Dawn, if you're coming from my end, if you don't follow, please follow both of us. But please also follow the Clear Planner, because we're going to be putting out a bunch of stuff out there. And as we are getting ready to finish this year, kick off 2022, Dawn and I have really decided and made an effort that we have stuff on our website. But the other thing that we want to add too is we're going to be putting out some really cool information, whether it's stories or posts about quotes, about ideas and things. And I'm going to speak for myself, and I think you will agree, is our number one objective with this planner is to really help people accomplish whatever that is, whether it's business, personal, whether they're going through a tough time, whether they've grown their business to a new level and they need more focus, whether it's fitness, family, whatever it is. We tried to put together a planner for people of all ages, people, entrepreneurs, non-entrepreneurs, mothers, fathers, single, married, whatever it is. So please check out the Clear Planner. You can go to theclearplanner.com, like follow myself, follow Dawn, but I'm going to kick it off to you to leave us with some insightful, exciting, motivating stuff.
Exciting, motivating stuff. So really one of the goals, like Chris said, is we want to provide insane value and bring as much as we can from the experiences that we've had, that we've experienced, and that our clients have experienced. And so, I really think of us as putting out as much goal setting, productivity, all of those things. So if you go to theclearplanner.com, we've got a couple free gifts for you there. We have a PDF of recommended reading, some of the books that have really impacted our lives. We've got a goal setting workshop. If you're like, hey, these people keep talking about goals. That was something that Chris and I discovered when we were talking. We were very goal oriented growing up as athletes, but didn't understand the art of setting goals. We were just doing. And now that we go back and we dissect it, we have a nice little booklet for you. You can grab that. We've got a free page of the planner. If you're like, hey, they keep sort of showing this, I can't see it, I want to learn more about what it is, print off 7 of them, try it for a week, see what it's like. So there's a bunch of stuff on there. We've got a Goal Crusher course that right now is $10 off. So you can grab a Goal Crusher course for $7. It's going to come with PDFs, mind maps, checklists, videos. It's all right there for you. So definitely go to theclearplanner.com and give us your feedback. Tell us where you're struggling and what you want to know more about. There's a blog on there, just some really good content. And if you do go over there, subscribe to the page so that you can be included as new products, as new materials come out. We'll make sure that we send that information your way.
That is way more than I thought you were going to share, which is awesome. But again, really appreciate you guys. For those that hung on this long, Dawn and I really try to add value. But I think the thing that I'll say is when you get yourself surrounded with like-minded people that want to talk about it, want to be vulnerable, want to share those wins, but also the vulnerability perspective of, hey, I've fallen short a little bit here. So we're trying to create this community of, awareness, growth. So appreciate you guys jumping on. Please follow the Clear Planner, follow Dawn, follow myself if you're not, and then head on over, as Dawn said, to the clearplanner.com, squeeze some free gifts. And I appreciate you guys. Dawn, I thank you for your time. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.